everyone. Welcome. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the gala. Thank you for joining us. Darlene Montano, Director of Communications here. Works good? All right, cool. Yay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me know. Oh, hi everyone. I'm Jennifer Sugarman. I'm President and CEO of the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, if you're watching online, to our 53rd annual gala. We're so excited as a Chamber of Commerce to be celebrating 53 years. And I am here beforehand with our keynote speaker, Maryann Barry. Maryann is the CEO of the Girl Scouts of Citrus, and she's going to space. We're so excited to have her here and for her talk. I'm going to let her say hello to our viewers online. And Maryann, we're so excited to have you. Thank you for doing this.
Well, I'm very excited to be here. Hi, everybody. Wish we could all be together in person, but you know, it is what it is. And I look forward to sharing a little bit of my story with you. And next year, seeing you guys all live. So have a wonderful evening and enjoy the show.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
It always feels like you're watching the show.
So glad to see you tonight. Unfortunately, we do have some restrictions that are keeping us from all being together. But I'm glad you're a part of it online tonight. It's been a great year as far as adapting to things that we've had to adapt to. I'm so proud of our chamber staff and what they've done. And thank you, the partners who really made the difference as far as the chamber being successful this year. And I know the coming year under the leadership of Jim Barfield is going to be an equal success.
And for those of you that don't know, this is Jim McKnight behind the mask. He is the city manager of Cocoa Beach, my former boss. He's skipping away from me this year in 2021, but he did an excellent job as our chamber chair. So I just want to thank you, Jim. And we'll see you next year, hopefully in person. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone, Jennifer Sugarman again, President and CEO of the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome once again to our 53rd annual gala. I'm here with Port Commission Chair Wayne Justice. Wayne, thank you for joining us. How's the port doing? You've been on our hearts and minds. We're pulling for you. I know cruise has been pushed back yet again. Can you give us just a quick little update and say hi to the folks joining us online?
Well, thank you very much. Great to be here again. This is my 5th or 6th in a row now.
Yeah.
Things at the port are rough. Our business lines, our real estate's fine, our cargo is fine, and our restaurants and most people are fine. Cruise is down, but it's going to come back. There is a process by which for the cruise lines to get back underway, and they're going through it, and it's going to happen sooner than later. And it may not be till summer or so until we get cruising again, but I can tell you right now that we are solvent, we are committed, we have the resources to get things rolling again, and we're going to do it. We're committed, and of course, our relationship with you all doesn't change because we are committed to this region of Central Florida.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. It's a wonderful partnership the Cocoa Beach Chamber has with the port. We're pulling for you. Please go and dine at one of their restaurants. Do business in the port. Port Commission Chairman Wayne Justice, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Hi to everybody at home. We are glad to have you on. I'm Amy Stone, the chair-elect for 2022, and thank you guys all for joining us. And it's going to be a fun night.
Michelle Marvell. I'm so proud to be on the board of directors again this year. Sorry that you couldn't join us, but I know we're going to have a great conversation and wonderful food, and it's so great to welcome in our new board Jim, director, Jim Barfield, and thank you very much.
Hello, I am at the annual gala and we are missing you, but I hope you're joining us and you are seeing all the fun stuff. I'm Dr. Jaya Prakash, and for Jaya for help. Come on down and have some fun. Join us virtually and welcome and Happy New Year.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Loftus, and this is Pam. Hi. We're from St. Francis Reflections Life Stage Care Hospice. Yay, hospice.
Yay. It's great to be here tonight. We're very excited to be here. Yay. Bye. Have a good night.
Once again, if you could get your final drink, make your way to your seats. We're going to get started in exactly 2 minutes. If you could please make your way to your seats. Dinner is on its way to be served to you. Thank you. Last call to sit down. We're about to serve dinner and get the program started. Thank you. All right. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. How about the back? Everyone hear me all right? Awesome. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce's 53rd Annual Gala. My name is Jennifer Sugarman, and as the leader of this chamber, I am thrilled. Oh, thank you. We should do this every day. I'm thrilled to be kicking off its 53rd year. My first order of business is to introduce Pam McMillan of St. Francis Reflections Life Stage Care, who will offer this evening's invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you please pray with me? Oh God, we humbly thank you for this evening and for this moment of celebration. Our souls need it. We need a moment to celebrate with smiles and laughter. We have endured so much and yet continue to overcome, and that is worth celebrating. Instill in us hope for the new year, one that shines a light even in the darkest moments. May we courageously hope for a new beginning, one where we will come back from COVID-19 with strength and resilience. May the economic ramifications be short-lived, and may there be seasons of growth and prosperity in the coming year. Help us to hold on to hope and imagine a way forward, and know that with your guidance, it will come sooner than we think. We ask for a blessing upon this chamber during this year and on all the businesses we support. May this chamber be a true community, one built on trust and kindness and collaboration. Help each of us to see one another more than neighbors, more than business partners, but as friends. Bless this night, bless the food we eat, the conversations we share, and all who made tonight possible. Amen. And now, if you would join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
normal is the Lysol wipe. Thanks for your patience. Okay, thank you so much, Pam. That's why we pay her the big bucks. She has awesome prayers. We'd like to thank our venue host this evening, the Hilton Cocoa Beach Oceanfront. Thank you, Hilton, for not only the amazing meal they're about to serve, but for also following all COVID-19 compliant guidelines and procedures to keep those of us here in the room this evening safe. And hello to everyone watching us online tonight. This evening would not be possible without our sponsors, and we would like to specifically highlight our thanks to our platinum sponsor this evening, Florida Power and Light, for your support. We will now play a video to hear a bit more from FPL.
We'd like to thank the outgoing board members and congratulate the incoming board members. This has been a very trying and difficult year for all of us. We'd especially like to thank Jim Roll Tide McKnight for his leadership during the year, and especially to Jennifer Sugarman for her efforts, her team efforts with the entire staff and team to make this community even stronger during this difficult, trying time. At FPL, we'd like to think that when you think of our company, you think about cost. Bills that are 30% below the national average. Reliable, award-winning reliability, and also cleanliness. Emissions 30% below the national average. And better things yet to come. You're going to be hearing a lot more about solar. You're going to be hearing a lot more about green hydrogen. But we do all this for you, our customers. And we want you to know that we're here for you in good times and bad times. And that's why for businesses, please refer to our webpage. And if you're needing an energy audit, please go to BEE.com and ask for an energy audit. You may also refer to FPL.com and find ways to become an energy analyzer. If you need any assistance with bills or any other issues, please feel free to call us and visit our website. So again, thank you all for your do, Cocoa Beach Chamber. God bless Cocoa Beach, the Cocoa Beach Chamber, and all of you. And now we're going to present a 1-minute video. Thank you for attending. Have a wonderful evening.
There is always a better way, and we will always chase after it. We're building a cleaner energy future with millions of solar panels generating clean energy from our Florida sun. We have the world's largest battery storage facility. Soon, solar energy will never sleep. We've made the grid smarter and stronger, putting more of our neighborhood lines underground. And we're finding new ways to locate damage even while we're still experiencing the storm's effects. Because we see restoration happening faster and sooner. We're investing in energy that's not just the most reliable or the cleanest, but also the most affordable, with bills among the lowest in the nation. Because as we see it, the horizon is always moving, and to chase it is to deliver America's best energy value for you and for Florida.
All right, thank you, FPL. We appreciate your sponsorship. I know they're watching online, so thank you so much. Appreciate that. And thank you to all of our incredible sponsors who were highlighted in your virtual programs that you were sent during our networking time on the screens as well. And we also want to thank TSS Photography, who's in the room, for graciously taking our pictures this evening. And with that, let's get the presentation started. We'd like to recognize a couple of elected officials in the room this evening. We have with us tonight Brevard County Commissioner District 4, Kurt Smith. I like to announce them right when they're about to take a bite. Next up is Canaveral Port Authority Commission Chairman Wayne Justice, District 3. Thank you both very much for being here tonight. And as you can see by the hybrid nature of this event being both in person and online, the Chamber could not do this alone. There are several valued sponsors that made this evening possible, and we're going to recognize them at this time. Please hold all of your applause until the end. As you know, our platinum sponsor is Florida Power and Light. Our gold sponsors are Cedar Creek Life Center, Luke and Associates, the Vieira Company, and Wild Ocean Market. Our silver sponsors are Artemis IT, Grimaldi Candy Company. By the way, if you look in front of your plate, you can take those home with you. If you don't, I'm sitting at table 1. Lockheed Martin, Rockledge Regional Medical Center, and our bronze sponsors, the City of Cocoa Beach, Community Bank of the South, St. Francis Reflections Life Stage Care, Sidecar Health, Vitas Healthcare, Wasden Associates, and Waste Management. Thank you all for your role in making tonight possible. We appreciate our sponsors. And thank you very much to J.Dot Media, who I've given the much stressful pressure of making sure we can try and get this to online viewers and in person. So thank you for bearing with us. We appreciate you. It is now my honor to recognize our past presidents and chairmen who are an instrumental part in the success of this chamber over the past 53 years. Some of them are watching online, and I am sure they are still wearing their green jackets, even though they're online. And I'd like to also say that we've lost some people this past year. In honor of the memory of the past presidents we lost, Mr. Roger Dobson, 1971, Larry Garrison, 1993, and Bill Bancroft, 1997. And I would also be remiss if I did not mention a tremendous loss to our board of directors and our chamber family, Gio Robert. At this time, please join me for a moment of silence for these incredible men that will be dearly missed. Thank you very much. I'd now like to recognize those past presidents and chairs in attendance tonight. If you're here in person, please stand or wave your hand to be recognized when your name is called, and please hold all applause until the end. Mr. Tom Wasden is here with us, Chair 1999. Hi, Tom. Gina Merrifield is watching online, 2015. Dina Ryder-Hicks is also watching online, 2018. Linda Webster-Dubé, who is watching online, 2019. And now, he's very thrilled to be joining this group, Mr. Jim McKnight, 2020. Thank you very much for being here and watching. The Chamber has several partners that support its mission at the highest level of financial commitment, our Chairman's Club and our trustee partners. The following businesses are partners that make an additional annual financial contribution to the Chamber, going above and beyond to show their support of our organization and the businesses that we serve. The Chamber is truly grateful for your support. Our 2021 Chairman's Club partners are Cedar Creek Life Center, Fish Lips Waterfront Bar and Grill, Victory Casino Cruises, and Wild Ocean Market. Thank you very much. And in previous years, I've spent a lot of time listing off each and every one of our Chamber's trustee level partners. However, we now have the wonderful dilemma of having so many of them that if I read them all, we would be here all night. So you can see them on the screen, and also they were listed in your virtual programs. Thank you for your additional investment and your continued support. Alongside the rest of the world, the Chamber had a challenging year in 2020. Despite a global pandemic, we were very proud to welcome 165 new businesses to the Chamber, facilitated nearly 50 ribbon cuttings in person, and maintained our support of our local businesses despite sadly losing several to closures and financial hardship. We did all of this while maneuvering several staff changes ourselves and adjusting to a new way of doing business. Just to highlight a few of the past year's accomplishments, our Government Affairs Committee, led by our chair, Ashley Wood, and of course our then ever-present Gio Robert, had a busy year educating our local business community on the issues that impacted them in an election year. We didn't know it then, but we were fortunate enough to take our last business trip to Tallahassee in January of 2020 to advocate for our joint four-chamber legislative agenda and orchestrated and participated in the first ever Brevard County Day at our Capitol. Stay tuned for how we will be accomplishing all of this virtually in 2021. Our Military Affairs Council continued to operate mostly virtually in 2020, and despite challenges the pandemic presented, we were still, with the help of our community, able to raise nearly $30,000, both in cash and in-kind goods and services, for our active duty military men and women this year. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. The Convention and Visitors Bureau remained open during a critical period in 2020. And while our numbers were significantly down for a very understood reason, we were still able to assist nearly 3,000 tourists in person in 2020, and thousands more via our phone lines and our websites. When you think of what our team has accomplished in a year, with the help of our amazing chamber volunteers, it's truly remarkable, and I'm very proud to be leading this chamber. And speaking of our team, at this time I'd like for our staff to stand and be recognized, right when you're about to take a bite. Thank you. This is an incredibly hardworking group of women, and 2020 has been a heck of a year. Thank you, Miss Sandy Owens, Cheryl Clark, Darlene Montano, Amy Builder, and our newest recruit at the CBB, Michelle Goldcamp. I mentioned this already at the end of last year, that I'm always proud to be your boss, but this year especially, I want to thank you for your tireless efforts as we had to pivot our entire way of doing business, so thank you very much. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker this evening. Maryann Barry is the Chief Executive Officer of the Girl Scouts of Citrus. She has an incredibly long and impressive biography, which you can read in your virtual programs. But to highlight just a few of the items, Maryann is a proud Girl Scout and seasoned not-for-profit business leader. She believes the key to growing stronger communities is to invest heavily and with clear intent in building healthy, confident, and above all else, kind children. Over the course of her 36-year career in government and not-for-profit industry, Maryann has focused sharply on improving quality of life issues for families and communities. She has served communities in New York, Germany, Louisiana, Alabama, Washington, D.C., and Florida. This year, Maryann added another exciting and out-of-this-world, see what we did there, opportunity to her resume. She will be fulfilling her childhood dream of traveling to space when she rockets towards the stars with Virgin Galactic as a citizen astronaut. She completed her future astronaut onboarding with Virgin Galactic in London just prior to the pandemic. Maryann attributes her passion and her successes to the spirit of social justice imbued in her by her late parents, an engineer and a journalist. She hopes to ignite that same spark to make the world a better place, and every future go-getter, risk-taker, innovator, and leader, or GIRL, GIRL is the acronym, she meets along her journey. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Maryann Barry.
Thank you, Jen. Can you guys hear me okay? So, seasoned is code for old. Whenever someone reads that, I'm like, man, I'm only 25. So I'm gonna take a moment here to pick my laptop up, because that makes my life easier in giving speeches. And I want to tell you how very meaningful it is to me to be here with you all this evening. I found a fellow St. Mary's attendee over here, and but unfortunately, I think we went to school about 30 years apart, but that's okay. I don't hold that against you right now. But so it's an honor to me to be here, where I started my journey as a child. A late life surprise to my parents.
who will be 100 if they were still here this year. And an extra special, all right, here we go. An extra special piece of interest for this is that I'm fairly certain that my mother actually covered the first Space Coast Gala as a journalist. So this is coming full circle and very meaningful to me to be here with you this evening to share a little bit about my story and to hopefully inspire you to continue to reach for whatever dreams you have, especially during this time. But there's something I have to acknowledge. It's something I know that you are all thinking about as you are looking at me standing here right now. Girl Scout cookies. Don't even try to lie. I know you're thinking about those cookies. And unfortunately, this event was a couple of days ahead of when I could bring them to you. Our girls will be out in force come Sunday when cookie season officially opens. Oh, I see. Whoop, whoop. So I'm going to, now that I've completely done what I do every time I give remarks or a speech, it would just go totally off my script and wander around and have fun with you guys. So Jen, you have a very important job tonight. So because you've been to the other thing where you see me just go off script and have fun, when it starts getting to be time for me to shut my mouth, yes, we need to let me know. So, all right, that page is done. One of the other things I want to say before I talk a little bit about my journey, and the very winding journey from kid with missing 2 front teeth in St. Mary's to Virgin Galactic future astronaut, is back to Girl Scouts again for just a moment, because I want you to do something for me when you're out and you see the girls. COVID impacted us as a business extremely as well, as I'm sure it has impacted each of you. And Girl Scouts and the Girl Scout Cookie Program is actually the largest girl-led business in the entire world. They sell almost $1 billion of cookies in 8 weeks across the United States. So keep your eye out. They've gotten innovative this year, and when you see the girls or you hear from a girl or see something on social media and you interact, don't just buy your cookies. Do one thing further. Ask that girl, what are her goals and what has she done to save and grow her business in the face of COVID? Because I'm going to tell you something. Just in Central Florida, your Girl Scouts here last year, when COVID hit us towards the end of our cookie sale, still moved $8.3 million in cookies. So these are little business geniuses, and you need to listen to them because they might just give you a tip or two about how to grow your sales, okay? They are on it. In fact, I got a complaint email from the Keebler Elves the other day. All right, yeah, that one wasn't so great, but all right. Very good. You should not try to eat either before you speak. So I grew up in Rockledge, not very far from here, as a child during the 60s, when the space race was a big thing here. And I remember the thrill of going out in my yard and watching those first manned rockets go up and blaze across the sky, in your hometown sky. I think every child that grew up here wanted to be an astronaut, and even now, because there's even more exciting things happening now. Echoing? Then, am I echoing? It will bother me, and I will have to talk about it. So those moments instilled in me something that lives in me still today, and always never let go of the dream, even though, let me tell you a little bit about what happened. So my mother, was Jen said, was a journalist. My father was an engineer. My brother was a technician on Saturn V that pushed Apollo out of the atmosphere, Apollo 11. I was able to be there to see that launch. I was so excited And I couldn't wait to tell my teachers that I wanted to be an astronaut when I grew up. And as one might expect, in the 60s, I was told that is not, no, not happening, lady, not a possibility. And you go on and keep doing what you do. My parents were great examples of community and being a humanitarian. I focused my efforts there, but I kept wandering back to space. And I don't mean that like being spacey, just so you know. I never got far from the dream. Went to school, had the opportunity to study overseas, continued my life and growing my career. And when I was 30, I thought, hey, maybe now I can try to be an astronaut. And I prepared myself, and I became an Alabama aerospace educator through a program that was between NASA and Redstone Arsenal while I was at graduate school in Alabama. And it was going great, and I was so excited, and I was preparing for my Class 2 flight physical, and I got injured. So that was the second no, wasn't my time on space. But again, I never let go of the dream. But I kept going on with my life and doing what all of us do, looking for where can we best contribute. I know that in speaking to this crowd, that is who you are. You would not be a part of this organization. I would not have heard those amazing stats that I heard Jen share about the work you do in the community if you were not already a giver. Giving back, very important. But what I really want to talk about a little bit tonight is setbacks and dreams, because all of you who are business people have had plenty of that this year. Plenty of setbacks to your dreams, to your business, to the goals that you have for the future of your industry and the future of this community. So, as I said, I was blessed with parents who loved life. They were also, do we have any community, before I start, I said just in case I don't want to offend anybody. Do we have any community theater people in the room? Stand up and be proud. We only have one today? Come on. It's improv? That's even better. Yes. I love that place. I spent I'm very familiar with the Playhouse. I spent a lot of time in the back of those places because my parents were avid community theater people. Avid. They were kind of crazy. You know, you don't realize that until you're an adult, that your family maybe was just a little eccentric, a little different. So I learned a great deal from that experience. I had experiences in my youth, such as spending my nights doing my homework in the back of a playhouse, and also using my easy bake oven because I was industrious and I had to make cakes for the people who were in the play. You know, a 6-year-old's got to make a living. So it was a very interesting life that I had here. But why I bring that up is my parents were joyful and they were persistent. And they left a legacy that is meaningful to me. It's what I want to share with you. A legacy that made me believe that I could still keep ticking away at what is an absolutely crazy dream. To think that somehow, over 60 years of age, I'm going to get on that spaceship and go. Yes. And why I like to talk about this, and particularly right now, and I will share with you that most of the time my audiences are about under 4'10". So this is a little bit different for me, but it's about believing in yourself and believing in your dreams. And I'm going to see if I can actually find my way back to my notes a little bit, because there was something I particularly wanted to share about that and how I got the space bug so badly. When I was maybe 6, The community theater people were very involved, my parents, in all aspects of Rockledge. And my father was Uncle Sam in the 4th of July parade and led the parade as Uncle Sam, which was pretty cool as a kid. Like, hey, my dad's Uncle Sam. I still have that jacket, by the way, that he wore in that parade. But I, under protest, was drafted to be the Statue of Liberty and had to sit in the back of a I think it was a Corvette, but a convertible is all I truly remember. And it was July. And yeah, that was not so good. But there was a gentleman who gave me his jacket to put on the back of that convertible to sit on. And I learned later that that gentleman was most likely one of our Mercury 7 astronauts. I didn't know that at the time. And then I was able to meet the Mercury 7 in the parking lot after the parade and hang out in the convertibles. And I'm going to tell you, it left an impression. They were so kind and so natural. And again, my parents spoke of this in our household in such a casual way, but yet with great admiration. And it really, again, I wanted so much to be a part of that world. But again, you know, dreams are not always meant to come to fruition. Some people tell you that, right? Not all dreams can come to fruition. I beg to differ, all right? I beg to differ with that statement. It may not come to you the way that you want it to. It may look a little bit different than what you planned in your head, maybe a little less grandeur, but I believe that if we stay connected to the essence of our goals and our dreams, and I'm really focusing a little bit more on dreams. You're a business person. You're a dreamer. You didn't get into business because you didn't have a dream of something you wanted to contribute to our community and our society. I stayed connected to that dream in many ways, by making friends who were in the industry, by being active in clubs, and by really encouraging my children and my students to be interested. I actually taught a science elective for a little while that was heavy in space industry stuff. Just kept moving. And what I call those, this is what I believe in my soul. And this is kind of the message I really want to impart in my comments before I tell you the crazy story about how I actually got to be going to space. If we keep the essence of our dream alive in our heart and soul, I believe we make micro movements along our path that put us in the direction of that dream. I believe that is what happened, and how I am now going to be able to realize a childhood dream from standing in my yard in Rockledge watching rockets go up, or being able to go out at the Cape and see it. Because I kept making, sometimes subconscious, micro movements towards that dream. So do that. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 15 or you're, you know, a lot older than 15 like me. Hang on to that essence of that dream. So because I kept myself in touch with that and kept that connection, I met a woman who was also a great space enthusiast, such as myself. And her name was Sharon Hagel. And Sharon invited me to something she was calling the Space Gala. And it was not the Space Coast Gala, but it had another name that I'm not remembering, to be honest with you. So this was a fun costume party kind of a gala for the Orlando Science Center. Now, Sharon is also a future Virgin Galactic astronaut, and so that piqued my interest. And when I went to this gala, there was a live auction, and one of the live auction items was a VIP behind-the-scenes tour of the Virgin Galactic facility in Mojave, California. Well, I was like a giddy kid. Okay, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to bid on that. Now, I'm going to add a caveat here. My spouse was not with me at the gala. You know where this is going, right? My spouse was not with me at the gala, but my American Express card was. And I waited. It was the last item, and I waited and I waited, and we started the bidding back and forth, and it got down to 2 of us, and it was a lot of fun because the paddles for the live auction were lightsabers, so it was like, you know, it was great. And I'm sitting there, down to the 2 of us, and the auctioneer was a volunteer, not a professional auctioneer, and I think he'd had enough of this night and wanted to go home or go sit down, because he's like, okay, wait, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to say a number, and whichever one of you has your saber up in the air first, you win. Well, that's a little risky, because he could have said $100,000. But I didn't care. So I was so excited and so driven. The man said, the number is, and I was like, me. And I was so excited. And then he said the number, and the number was $8,000, which was a lot better than $100,000. That was my justification to myself. And then I had to figure out how I was going to go home and tell this to my spouse, who was not with me, but who has always been very supportive of my space enthusiasm. So I had a plan, and I went home, and my spouse's birthday was coming up. And I said, look what I got you for your birthday. We're going to California. Of course, they called me on that pretty quickly, but we're very excited. And so then the time came that we went out. So it doesn't make sense to go on a vacation and come back a future astronaut, but hey, works out. So it was really great, because I went out there, and one of the things we did was they let us tell our story about why were we there, because there were other potential, there were other already signed up astronauts who had not had a tour of Mojave yet that were there with me. I was the only non-Virgin Galactic person that was there. And I shared my story about my parents, and about my brother working on Saturn V, and about my dreams, and about trying once to become an astronaut and failing, and how much it meant to me to see this commercial space industry that's rising and growing and providing jobs and all of these wonderful things for our country, and just to be a part of it, that just to have this moment to see behind the scenes was such a gift to me and to my astronaut wannabe soul. And the next morning at breakfast, the astronaut office director came up to me. Now, I knew that they closed the window on taking anybody else. So I went, and I had a secret hope. Okay, I did harbor a secret hope that maybe I could figure it out and get in there. But I did not have an expectation. And I think when you harbor those secret hopes with no expectations, it makes you bold, and it makes you do crazy things that have great results. They came up to me and they said, so, we have a question. If we were to open the door to let you join, would you? I even almost cry now. I cried. My spouse cried. I will tell you, they had the dignity and the forethought to go and talk to my spouse first. That was smart. But what a pathway to get there. A place I never thought that would really come to fruition, but I never fully let go. And that's a big part of my message when I speak to girls and Girl Scouting, and when I speak at other events, is don't let go, no matter what happens, no matter the pandemic, the other crisis. You know, our camp burned down at Girl Scouts a few years ago, and then we had two hurricanes and a wildfire, all in the same year, that were very devastating, and it would have been very easy to just say, you know, just close off that side of the camp and forget about it. But that wouldn't have been the right thing to do. Not the right thing for the girls, not the right thing for the business. So stay connected to those dreams. Find ways. You will find ways. Now let's see if I can find where I might be in my speech. Oh, I was taught somewhere in here I talked about being a tiny kid who got bullied. That was true. But I want to leave some time to answer questions, because you may have questions about how does, because Virgin Galactic doesn't work like what we see here. It's not a vertical launch. You go up, the spacecraft is attached to what looks like a giant plane, and it goes up to about 50,000 feet. They drop us, the spacecraft, for about 7 seconds. You kind of fall. Then they hit the boosters, and boom, very shortly you are out of the atmosphere. That's supposed to help with G-force, so I'm rather excited about that part. It's a little less force on it. So, all right. I really did lose my place, and I'm not even ashamed to say it, because this is how I roll. Okay, this is what you get. One of the things that I do want to add here before we go to Q&A that I think is really, really important is the keys behind staying connected to your dreams and behind that success. And it's something my parents taught me, and I think I'm preaching to the choir in this room, because I've been listening to what Jen was saying, and it's the keys of kindness and perseverance. That's really the bottom line, and to always be a community theater person. I knew the community theater people in the room would get it, and the rest would be like, what is she talking about? But stay connected. I hope I'm an example for girls and adults everywhere that if you keep believing, you can make the craziest of dreams come true, because you continue to make those micro movements in the direction of your dreams and your goals. So thank you for letting me share a little bit about my story and my childhood that I so loved growing up here, and being here tonight, coming full circle and in a very, well, I'm going to put it out there, a very selfish way for me, really bringing me back to my roots in this community where I was raised for my early childhood and elementary years, and where I saw my parents be an integral part of Rockledge and the Space Coast community. And I'm so thrilled to be able to be here with you tonight. And now ask me questions. That's an excellent question. How has COVID moved the schedule for Virgin Galactic? I was to be doing my basic suborbital training and my vomit comet. Oops, really not nice to say at dinner. Sorry about that. My microgravity training in the aircraft in March and April. And those were canceled due to COVID. I'm probably looking at a late 2022, unless there's more delays actually in the program itself. You know, we did have that glitch that they are having to work on. The one thing that makes me feel very good about working with Virgin Galactic on this is they are really they're painstakingly testing safety to make sure that we don't have an unfortunate experience. So let's hope. I will make sure everybody knows, you can take a whole big caravan out to Las Cruces and we'll have like the biggest party ever in the desert. Any other questions? I have a question for you. Are you going to buy Girl Scout cookies on Sunday? Very good. Very good. And one more question. How many ladies in the room, how many of you had a Girl Scout time in Girl Scouts in your youth? Very good. That's not surprising when you know that women leaders are born from Girl Scouts. And thank you for your time. Thank you. And I hope that you had a little bit of fun with my story. And Jen, come get me off this stage.
Sponsored by Lysol. All right, one more round of applause for Maryann Barry. I think you can see why I found her so inspirational. I'm not going in space, but I'll watch you do it. And I just think that you're wonderful. My number one seller were the Samoas, followed by the Thin Mint. I'm now a slightly less Thin Mint because of that, but it's a wonderful, wonderful organization. And by the way, they are a chamber partner with the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce. So thank you very much. Okay. I appreciate everyone bearing with us because this is our first large-scale hybrid event. I know we've had a couple issues with the videos, but due to some policies, our platinum sponsor, FPL, was not able to join us in the room because of COVID policies. And so we're now going to play a very special video message from our outgoing immediate past chair of the board, Linda Webster Dubé.
Thank you, Jen, and welcome to all our guests here this evening, whether you're there in person or watching like I am online. FPL is proud to sponsor this great event, and I am proud to be here as an outgoing member of the executive team and past chair to recognize an incredibly hardworking man who has dedicated an enormous amount of time and energy to the chamber over this past year. And what a crazy year it was. I'm sure 2020 was not exactly what he had in mind when he originally committed to being chair. Jim McKnight, our outgoing 2020 board chair, is described by chamber staff as warm, caring, empathetic, a true leader that leads by example, and a wonderful chair filled with a supportive spirit. While running a city himself, Jim was and is fully engaged and committed to the chamber's mission, vision, and to his community's success despite the immense challenges thrown our way. Jen noted, in particular, she would not have survived this incredibly challenging year in her leadership role with the chamber without his steadfast support, guidance, and expertise watching over her and the team. During his tenure as board chair, he not only took the extra time necessary to support the chamber and its dwindling staff, but he actively and methodically played an important role in the programs the chamber put together to support Brevard's business community throughout this challenging time. Like all the chairs that have come before and are yet to be, Jim had challenges to overcome this year. Although I think we could all agree that he may win in terms of leading the chamber throughout one of the most interesting years on record. The chamber staff wants to reiterate their thanks on what a pleasure it was to work with you. You made the chamber's most challenging year one filled with hope and optimism. While I'm sorry I cannot be there in person to put on your new green jacket, it's my pleasure to welcome you into our prestigious club of past presidents and past chairs. At this time, our president and CEO will welcome you to the stage and assist you in donning your new coveted green jacket. We thank you as your time as chair comes to a close. Please come up to the podium so you may be properly recognized.
Yay, Jim!
Maryann, I also grew up in the 60s in Rockledge. I did. A Rockledge Elementary kid. So, and it was a great place to grow up. Yes, it was. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Jen. It was truly my honor this year to serve in the role of chair. And when I originally considered the role, I could have never imagined what the year would bring. Despite a global pandemic and the many challenges that followed, I am proud of the accomplishments the chamber, and that's all of us working together, were able to achieve this year. We threw out our old ideas of what the strategic plan said and the mission, what the mission may have been, pivoted, and we set out to model what the spirit of an adversity response could be. And Jen made some notes here that you really expect me to follow.
But it was Jen and the staff that made the difference. We were just there to be the encouragers and the ones that they could bounce things off of. I'm so proud of what they did this year and the way they adapted, became flexible. A couple times I had to talk her off the ledge, but you know, that goes with it. But you know, we just come off of a full-scale renovation in 2019 of the Maradona office. We got in the Vieira office set up. We were really looking forward to showing off our new facilities, having people at meetings, events, and instead we found ourselves in a different situation, but still bringing quality events, seminars, and information to our partners through virtual meetings and settings. Early on, the executive team identified the clear need for collaboration for a community that was in need. In March, this chamber, its counterparts in the other three chambers, the EDC, We Venture, and other groups band together to form the Brevard Business Community's COVID-19 response team. And what a job they did. At the beginning of this crisis, they held webinars twice a week to bring pertinent and business-saving information to Brevard's businesses in real time. It was because of these efforts that collectively, the four chambers in Brevard County were jointly awarded the FPRA, Florida Public Relations Association's Space Coast Chapter's Communicator of the Year, awarded for 2020, a huge accomplishment. Now, let me be clear. There was nothing pretty about 2020. Kind of glad it's behind us. But through clear determination and grit, a willingness to think differently and outside the box, and remain flexible, and focus on the organization's mission, 2020, in my opinion, was a monumental year for the chamber, and I'm glad to have been a small part of that. I appreciate the hard work of the board of directors, of all of those who were a part of that, of the extra effort of our exec team, of Jim Barfield and Amy Stone, Linda Dubé, who I can't say enough about how, as past chair, the support she gave to Jen in so many different ways. It was a great year, and I look forward to the year of recovery, restoration, and acceleration that we will see in 2021, and I believe under the leadership of Jim Barfield and Jennifer Sugarman, we're going to have great things happen in 2021. Thank you for the support this last year.
All right. It's those Bama germs. You just got to wash them. All right. That's my one dig. I get one, just one. Thank you, Linda, and congratulations, Jim, on a challenging yet rewarding year with the chamber. And it is now time to officially install our 2021 Board of Directors. Whether you're watching online or here in the room, we're installing you either way. Here to assist us tonight is Brevard County Commissioner Kurt Smith, District 4. Welcome to the stage, Commissioner Smith.
I have to thank Jennifer for supplying the script. And I want to thank her for the honor of being here, for asking me to be here. It's an honor to be amongst all of you fine, ambitious entrepreneurs. It's always good to rub shoulders with fellow businessmen. Congratulations, Jim, on a terrific year. You made the most of it. But I have to tell you, you had me a little concerned there when you told Maryann that I thought you were going to say Yeah, I grew up in Rockledge too in the 60s. I was a Girl Scout. So that didn't happen, so I'm glad. So at this time, I will administer the oath to the incoming 2021 Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I ask the Chamber's Executive Committee team and all directors to please stand. Or if you're joining online, hold your hand up. And if you're online, it's okay if you're in your pajamas. Directors here in person, you have your hand raised. You are hereby directed to meet your responsibilities of chamber officers and directors by examining community needs to determine what must be done to make it a better place to live and to do business. Channeling community resources to the fulfillment of these needs. Organizing and developing the necessary leadership to guarantee that the organization will continue to be an effective force for expansion and improvement in our community. If you agree to accept this responsibility, please respond with "I accept." I hereby declare the 2021 officers and directors of the Cocoa Beach Chamber of Commerce duly installed. I congratulate you on your willingness to serve and wish all of you the greatest success as leaders. Congratulations. Jen, it's all yours.
I love that we say congratulations, like we're not making you work harder than you've ever worked in your entire life. Year like 2021. But congratulations, new bosses. Now that he's official, it's an honor to welcome your new chairman of the board, my new boss, to the podium for his remarks. It helps that he's also named Jim. Please welcome Jim Barfield.
Well, obviously, I'm an ex-politician or recovering politician, so I don't really go off script too well. You know, it doesn't work too well. By the way, Maryann, I'm a Rockledge person too, so we need to talk afterwards. Yeah, you know, I actually just moved back there too, which is amazing. First off, I want to tell Jimmy McKnight, because I've known you for that for years. Thanks for the service on this, and thanks for your service for both Rockledge and Cocoa Beach. It's well known. We've become good friends over the years. And, well, I say friends. Sometimes we're not too happy with each other when I was a county commissioner, but we got over it anyway. This is a great organization, and I'm going to try to go back on script. I'll try to. I'm not sure, Jim, if I can do it. Yeah, it's the way it is. It's the way it is. But first off, I want to say it's a real honor for me to be the chamber chair. Jen and Jim came, they thought they were going to really have to twist my arms to ask me if I ever wanted to do this. And I said, yeah, I want to do it. I believe my community, I believe in the businesses or small businesses, we need it. Little did I know what was going to happen in 2020 when all this happened, but anyway, it's just one of those things that we're going to get through. Let me see if I can sort of get back on my script. And my wife's looking at me like that, just shaking her head. I know how it is. Well, anyway, being a citizen of Brevard County for 60 years, we've seen our economy go up and we've seen it go down. We had a Apollo program, we've seen the shuttle program, we've seen all this stuff up and down. But what makes us really a great community is we always come back stronger. We always have. And that's where we are right now. It's a pandemic, whatever. Okay, we're coming back strong. I mean, it's one of those things where we just always persevere. That's what we do here. And that's why our theme really has become recover, restore, and accelerate. So what does that really mean? First off, we're going to recover. And that's where we are right now. We're almost at a little bit past that. Recover is the point where right now we use the resources we have. Yeah, we get some resources from the federal government, from the state government, from the county. We use those resources we can. We've got to maintain. I mean, I see Wayne Justice is here. The cruise industry right now is all hurt. We just got to make it through to a certain point, and when it all comes back, we're going to be we're going to accelerate. But before we get there, it's going to be restored. We're going to repair what we're doing now, and we're going to learn from where we've been, and we'll get stronger. And that's what we do. That's what this community is about. But once we get to that point, we're there. We're going to accelerate. It's going to be pedal to the metal. It's going to be, okay, let's get going now. Because we have everything going in this community now. We've got commercial space. We've got everything in the world from the south part of the county to the north part of the county. And then we have the cruise industry is going to come back very strong. We have tourism come back very strong. We're going to get there. We just have to get there. And we will. And I'm telling you what, this pandemic, yeah, it's a pandemic. But what comes out of this is out of bad things, we have opportunities, and that's where we're going to be. I've been a business leader in this community for a good while. I'm a recovering county commissioner. Sorry, Kurt. No, I've been a county commissioner, and I understand what this community is about. I know what it's about. And quite frankly, it's an honor for me to be doing this. I am so proud to be doing this because I want to lead this. I want to do it. And I look forward to working with all our partners, all the community partners, everyone, so we can make this a success. And like I said, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this. And with that, God bless y'all, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Jim. New Jim. Appreciate it. The Chamber's very lucky to have you and have you serve. I'd now like to bring back up former Jim. I almost said something else. Former Jim 2020 McKnight for a very special award presentation.
It is our honor to be up here to recognize a collective company that has given countless hours of staff time and resources to the Chamber. We felt that after an unprecedented year like 2020, we needed to pause and pay homage to the final result of an incredibly difficult year. This is the second time we have ever given an award by this name, and while it may or may not be an annual event, we could not think of a more perfect organization to be the recipient.
We do the switching off for dramatic effect. Every year, I feel like the Chamber has had a major obstacle to overcome. We have risen to every occasion that has greeted us because of the leadership of our executive committee, our board of directors, and of course, because of you, the partners. This year was no different. Lysol makes your fingers stick to pages. I personally could never have imagined a global pandemic, letting go of half of my staff, and single-handedly managing a chamber in a dark and empty building by myself during the shutdown. These were some of the hardest moments of my professional life. And then a light turned on in my office, and all of a sudden, I was not alone.
A former chamber leader herself and our outgoing immediate past chairman, Linda Webster Dubé, dedicated countless hours to Jen and to the chamber by way of assisting us in managing the chamber's finances. We were without a bookkeeper, without half of our staff, and our executive was continually being trained on all things QuickBooks and bookkeeping in short order. All of this was accomplished thanks to Linda's unwavering commitment and spirit of volunteerism. We thank her company, FP&L, for allowing this spirit of volunteerism
and their employees, we certainly appreciate, recognize, and honor Linda for all of her work in 2020 in support of the chamber.
Yes, thank you, Linda. I know you're watching online. Yes, thank you. I could not have done this without you, but I also could not have done it without FPL as a company. Bart Getchins, who many of you know, was a regular person to contact me in 2020, and he had one question. How can we help? Understanding that the chambers in this community relied on two things: the success of local businesses and in-person events doing well. Bart took it upon himself to not only ensure that FPL paid its chamber dues on time, but he also paid for this year's dues early at a time during our most challenging months. But he took it a step further. He brainstormed with the chambers, all four of us, to see how FPL could best support its business community and offered monetary sponsorship to do so, which allowed us to collectively put on a new and exciting program and showcase local businesses.
And Around the Space Coast was born, a new virtual event bringing together local businesses with the general public and potential customers. FPL's forward-thinking, heart for their local economy, and dedicated team with a spirit of volunteering are part of the reason to celebrate the bright spots of 2020.
It is for these reasons and so many more that we are honored to present a timely, unique, and special award to recognize Florida Power and Light and its staff, and Linda and Bart, as our Contributor of the Year. Congratulations. I'm smiling. Okay. Jim's going to accept this award on behalf of Linda and Bart, who are watching. Pokes your eye out. Watch. Okay. But again, due to COVID-19 policies, Linda and Bart could not be here in person with us this evening, but they are watching right now online. Everyone say hi, Linda and Bart. All right. They love it. They're also probably in their pajamas. And let's roll a video now. They were kind enough to pre-record something for us.
Wow, thank you so much for this award. It's something we will really treasure. We appreciate the continued partnership with the Cocoa Beach Chamber. I have learned so much through our sponsorship, and we find great value in it, especially around the Space Coast. So again, support each other during the good times and the bad times. And now, my colleague, Linda Webster.
Well, thank you so much. We've appreciated our partnership with the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce, and we look forward to a successful 2021. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Congratulations again to FPL and their amazing team of professionals. With that, on behalf of the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for attending this evening and in person. As you can tell, we're used to having 200 to 300 people in the room for this event. COVID has certainly changed things for us. We have a lot of people watching online, and we're so happy that you were able to come out and put on a mask. The N95s are terrible for temperature control. It's a lot going on under here. But just know that we really appreciate you being here. Most of our signature events for 2021 are going to be hybrid, so you'll have an opportunity to attend in person or online. Due to the spike, we're probably going to take a step down for the first quarter with our networking events and be online. That said, we're really looking forward to having a full-blown 2021 with COVID going away steadily. Hopefully the vaccine will continue to improve everything, and we're just so grateful that you were here tonight. I pray for us all, and specifically for this chamber, to have a successful and healthy 2021. And with that, have a very awesome night. Thank you for coming. Save the date for our next event. It's up on the screen. Thank you to our sponsors, and thank you, Hilton. We appreciate you. Thank you, J.Media. Everyone say hi to Dana. He and his team did awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Jim McKnight, I need you for a picture, please. And Barfield.